Yeah, top of the morning to you, lasses. We've got a beautiful Tuesday morning for you, and we're going through the best four teams to buy and a little touch on everyone else for the last three games. We are here. The last three is getting sad, the end of the season, and we're going to do something fun for the finals as well. So stay tuned for that. It's going to be worth your while, I think, and a lot of fun as well. So good stuff there on that one. But first team off the rank, we do have the Roosters now as the best buys here, and I think the worry here is obviously resting. And if none of the Roosters rest, or if you pick someone up that is unlikely to rest, someone like a Joey Manu, for example, then I think this is going to be a really, really good team to focus on because they've got the Titans away, the Raiders at home, and then Bunnies away as well, which seems to be a bit of a fun clash, that one at the end of the year with the two rival teams, which is fun. So, yeah, I think outside backs for the Roosters right now are the targets here. And especially in Supercoach sense, you got guys like Dom Young, picked up 3 tries last week and had a banger. He could continue to do good things there as well. Manu's another fun one there on that right-hand side. So have a look at all those players. Still that chance of resting risk. Looks like a good chance of round 26 against the Raiders because they do always back up and play that round 27 clash against the Bunnies. It seems to be that case. So, yeah, just be aware of that. Guys like Teddy, if you don't have him right now, I probably suggest don't buy at this point, although the games he does play, I think he will score well. Number 2 on the list is the Knights. So you have got through that tougher clash just then against the Sharkies. Now it comes up against the Bunnies, the Titans, and the Finns there. And that's a lovely little stretch of games. Yes, they're out of contention for the finals now, but they do have a nice run of games. And I think their outside backs, Greg Marzoo, you've got Dane Gagai, you've got Kalen Ponga. Hopefully Bradman Best comes back soon, but yeah, plenty of options in those outside back ranks that could do a really good job and score you great points in this last 3 games and will play every single game. So get a look at those guys, that's for sure. Number 3 on the list is the Seagulls. So they do have the Tigers away this week, which is really nice, but then it does get a little bit harder, Dogs into Sharks. But I do think the Eagles have plenty to play for and a bunch of their players that you want to be looking at. Guys like Turbo and guys like DC really step up and look like great options this week. Olakau'atu hasn't scored well enough. He could easily do great against the Tigers, but I am worried about how he's going to score across the 3 games rather than just that one game as well. So DCE and Turbo are the 2 big targets there. And we know that anything could happen in this Tigers game. You could get 30 or an 80 from DCE and very similar to that with Turbo, but he looks incredible form right now. Number 4 on the list. Same situation though, but the Panthers have a cracking run here. Raiders into Bunnies into Titans, and guys like Jerome Luai are going to be really fun. Guys like To'o, they could all do really well, but the worry is, are they going to get a rest at some point? They're obviously not really in the race for the minor premiership at the moment, but they'll want to make sure they stick in the second position. So really, they're probably likely going to have to win 2 out of 3 to stick in that spot there. And if they happen to lose this one against the Raiders, then they might have to play the final 2 games. So yeah, an interesting thought there. But it's Raiders, Rabbitohs, Titans, a really nice run at that there. Number 5 on the list, I will throw in the Dogs. They've been a good little target team for a while now. And I still think that they're a good one to target here with the Warriors away into Seagulls and Cowboys. And I just don't think any of those are going to be low scoring from their side. I think that they should at least be able to score 18 to 20 in all of these fixtures, whether they win or lose. So I've got guys like Burton, guys like Preston, guys like Karaz, all really, really top tier options for the run home. They'll play every game. They're looking to push themselves into a top 4 position if they can. If not, settle for a 5th or 6th home final would be ideal. And the only chance that they would rest in that last round would be if they were locked into a 5 or 6, or even the top 4, which I think is unlikely, but more likely a 5 or 6. And therefore, they don't have to play if they lose, it doesn't matter. That's the only time that they would probably rest. And that's the small worry. Whereas sides like the Eagles, who are below them, they all want to win as many games as they can to try and get into that 5 or 6 would be their play. So there you go. Now, that is that. Tigers, definitely don't be buying any of those guys. Samuel Afenu, I'm potentially interested in selling this week, just so I can get ahead of the curve for round 26, which I think might be a tough one if Storm players rest, and also potentially the Roosters. Panthers could do it as well, but they might rest in that final game. We don't know at this point. They could rest this week. We'll find out this afternoon. So that's the Tigers. Just, avoid and maybe sell a Fainu or something like that. Appy, those kind of guys are worrisome. Galvin will hold him for the rest of the year. Titans, they've got the Roosters and the Knights away, and then Panthers. So I'm not sure when Panthers are going to rest, but at this point, they have two tough clashes, and then the Knights, I think, we'll be able to put on a really good performance against them there. So a team where you just want to be holding your Campbells, your Fafitas, both for Moores, these types of guys. Hopefully Bo returns this week and he's in a good spot for you. But outside of that, I think, Randall's, outside of that, just hold for the Titans, guys. For the Finns, they've got the Storm away into Broncos at home and Knights away. So a fairly tough little 3-game stretch for them. Just holding your guys there, Herbie Farnworth, Plath, all those types of players there, I think is the only spot you want to be with your Finns players. Hammer, these types of guys there for sure. Asako probably can just hold at this point. It's very hard to sell guys that don't have a buy. I think that's for sure. Storm, they've got the Dolphins, they've got the Cows, and they've got the Broncos. So kind of a middle of the rung, kind of stretch for them. They do have the Cowboys away, which is the clash that is a good chance that they rest for, which I think will be helpful for my Cowboys players in Cotter and also Drinkwater. So if that's the case, awesome. Hopefully Blore plays that week, but hold on to your Storm players, Munster, Hughes, Grant, all these types of guys. Keep hold of them, and hopefully they do come out and at least play 2 of the 3, and looks a good chance in round 26 as their resting week. But again, we'll find out this afternoon with team lists. Sharkies, they've got the Dragons away, who are playing much better footy at the moment. Warriors at home into Seagulls away. So just a middle of the road type of run for them. And still the guys that you're currently owning, Iro, he'll be back this week. These types of players there with Nikora, just hold them. I don't think any of them are clear buyers this week, heading into that one. That's for sure. You've obviously got replacements to use for guys like Cleary, and I haven't mentioned DCE, and these guys is a really good one. The rest of them will come a little bit later. Rabbitohs are next. They have the Knights at home, so their easiest one of the run, and then it's Panthers away, Roosters at home. So not looking forward to those last 2 games, and hopefully that for my Rabbitohs players, that's round 26 clash is a resting game for Panthers, but I think it might be round 27 for those Panthers boys there. Just hold on to your Rabbitohs guys, or target Cam Murray with that trade down from Cleary for sure. He'd be the only one I'd go for. Damien Cook's in a really good spot, doing really good stuff, but these tougher games I think will slow him down a little bit, unless he goes into tackle bot mode for sure. Eels are next. They've got Broncos, Dragons, Tigers. Pretty, it gets a nicer run than it was, that's for sure. So holding on to guys like Talangi, I think they can do a decent job, especially in that final game against the Tigers. He could be a really, really good guy to own. Similar to that with Dylan Brown and Cartwright. All these guys could have a big game in there, so don't go selling him. Even Brendan Hands, he had a shocker last week. He could come out and have a better one, that's for sure. I can't believe he went and got 6 there. That was a shocker. Raiders are next. They've got Panthers, Roosters, Dragons. 1 home, 2 away there. Pretty tough for them. A bit worrisome for guys like Fogarty if they can't get on the board and score points. So that's the main worry there. If you've got Whitehead and Hudson Young, Tarpanay, I think they'll be fine. Not a big stress on them. Dragons are next. They've got the Sharkies, Eels, and Raiders. So a little bit easier, I'd say, after this Sharks game this week. We'll put that in the light green, as always, there for these middle-of-the-road type of runs. And you can look at Lomax, you can look at Little. Even someone like Ben Hunt, I think, is going to have a fun finish to the year as well, given they're playing for plenty, trying to get into that 8. So that's the Dragons, a good little situation for them. There's obviously only 3 teams with a bye. It's Tigers, Warriors, and the Cowboys. So we'll get to them in a second. But the Broncos are next on the list. They have the Eels, Dolphins, and Storm. Carrigan's the big buy. He's the big buy of the week. No one else on this side, I think, stands out at all. Paddy's a really good option to drop down from Cleary, which is funny that he's the next best option, I think. But he has a terrific 59 average, or probably up to 60 now. Now they got that 66 last game without Payne Haas, and plays big minutes there. So I'm excited to see Carrigan go around. You'd expect him to still play big minutes, but we still don't know. We don't know, right? If teams are out of contention, is there any point playing their stars for full 80 minutes? Murray did it last week. Will he do it again? Carrigan did it last game. Will he do it again as well? That's the big question. The Wars, they still have that buy, obviously. So it's Dogs, Sharks into the buy. I can't consider any of them purchases unless you're in the head-to-head finals. Therefore, AFB or Barnett could still be really good purchases. Even an SJ should be able to do solidly. But against the Dogs, I'd back the middle forwards rather than backing SJ on that one for Dogs and Sharkies. Roosters, they've got the Titans and the Raiders and the Bunnies. We already spoke about them. And then the Cowboys, they have a bye this week. And then it's Storm and Dogs. A pretty tough little run there. But I do think the Storm players will rest in round 26. So they'll at least have one rest somewhere in the next 3 weeks. It looks like they're not going to take that Queensland trip there for sure. But they do have Cowboys away, then Broncos away. So they're going to rest for one of those, I think, in that one, which would be cool. But Storm and Dogs doesn't excite me as as Cowboys players owner. But Drinkwater, hopefully, if the Storm guys rest, that he can do pretty well. But they've got guys like Farlong and to come in and do some good stuff. Tyron Wishart can come into starting side. There's plenty of good things that they can do. And if you're holding Wishart, expect him to start in round 26 for Hughes. And we'll see if Munster keeps his spot as well. So there you go, guys. It's quick and simple. The impact of the next 3 rounds, the final 3 rounds here, with the potential buys of the week. There's a few of them that are going around. There's all different players from each team. If you have a little bit less cash or you've got other priorities, then there's definitely some options this week, which we'll get into tomorrow with the buy, hold, risk, sell. But that is the impact of the next 3 rounds. I hope that helped you out, and we'll see you in that team list video this afternoon.